With or without T. Higgins, Bengals look to get back to 500 on White Bengals Sunday here in Cincinnati. Mike Petraglia inside Paycor Stadium. A fabulous afternoon on tap here in downtown Cincinnati. We're expecting temperatures right around 60 for the now 1 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. Of course, this game was initially scheduled for 4:25. Sort of a primetime national TV audience, if you will, but the networks swapped out this game for the Bears and Commanders and the White Bengals Sunday, which was going to be in dusk conditions heading into the nighttime. Would have been a fabulous visual on television. Not going to be the case. That doesn't matter to Zach Taylor and the Bengals. They need the win any way they can get it. The big storyline coming into the game, of course, is the status of T. Higgins. He showed up on Friday's injury report with a quadriceps injury. We don't know exactly when he sustained that injury. Was it sometime Thursday during the practice? Was it during Friday's practice? We just don't know at this point. We don't know the severity, and T. Higgins, of course, is going to test out that quadriceps before the game. He is indeed a game-time decision. If he comes through warm-ups and is active, it'll be interesting to see just how many snaps the Bengals and T. Higgins trust his quadriceps to play through. Of course, the Bengals need every weapon possible to go up against this high-powered Eagles offense. It starts with Saquon Barkley. The Eagles are one of the best rushing teams in the National Football League, averaging as a team 166 yards a game on the ground. Saquon Barkley, the third leading rusher in the National Football League. I asked Joseph Asai this week, you've faced really good rushers before this season, of course, in Derrick Henry with the Baltimore Ravens. He told me it's a different type of running back is Saquon Barkley, because with Derrick Henry, he can make one cut, move upfield, cut upfield, and obviously very powerful. With Saquon Barkley, a little bit more elusive, can make 2 or 3, maybe even 4 cuts in the backfield before he finds a hole, and then when he hits that hole, he is gone. So the Bengals have to have, as Osai told me, and has been the focus all week long from Lou Anarumo, 11 hats to the ball. The Bengals must get a team-coordinated defensive effort on Saquon Barkley. That's point number one. Point number two, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, one of the best wide receiving tandems in the National Football League, this side of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. A.J. Brown, of course, a beast of a wide receiver. If Cam Taylor-Britt is on A.J. Brown, it'll be interesting to see what kind of success he might have, because last season, remember, Cam Taylor-Britt had one of his best games against DK Metcalf, physically a very similar receiver, but Cam Taylor-Britt said this week they are very different in terms of their style, catch radius, and whatnot. The other player is Devontae Smith, also with a player with tremendous catch radius, as Cam Taylor-Britt told us this week when he spoke to reporters on Thursday. It's somebody that the Bengals are going to have to keep their eye on. Will Lou Anarumo, the Bengals defensive coordinator, come at Jalen Hurts, the Eagles quarterback, with some pressure? It'll be interesting to see. He runs the game a little bit different in the pocket, certainly than a quarterback like Joe Burrow, who can break down all of the defensive looks pre-snap and then make reads and then go to the open receiver as defense dictates. The Eagles and Jalen Hurts, their offenses run a little bit differently, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out here against Nick Sirianni's Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles come in at 4-2, the Bengals 3-4. Interestingly enough, both of these teams are coming off wins against the Giants and the Browns. Of course, the Bengals won 2 weeks ago against the Giants, and last week in Cleveland, the Bengals beat the Browns 21-14. 2 weeks ago, it was the Eagles barely surviving the Browns at home by a score of 20-16. Whereas last week, the Eagles and Saquon Barkley rolled into MetLife Stadium and crushed the Giants 28-3. So a lot of storylines here inside Paycor Stadium. Of course, it is White Bengals Sunday. The end zone's painted white with the black stripes. It'll be a fantastic look on television, but again, not a national television audience as it was initially scheduled when the schedules came out. The game has been moved from 4:25 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The Washington Commanders and Chicago Bears will now be that 4:25 game. So interesting that the Eagles and the Bengals got moved for that contest. Who would have figured before the game, right? Again, the weather conditions, spectacular. Sunshine. We are expecting temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s. No precipitation in the forecast. And we are also expecting a very mild day in terms of wind, so the wind shouldn't be a factor at all as well. Again, the big storyline is, will T. Higgins play? If he does, how much? Inactives come out about 90 minutes before kickoff, so stay tuned. Be sure to follow me on the X at Trags, Trags, for the latest updates on T. Higgins as well as other storylines. Be sure to follow my Jungle Roar podcast on YouTube, and be sure to tune in immediately following the game. It's the Jungle Roar Skinny Bengals postgame pod on youtube.com/@JungleRoarPod. Yours truly and Richard Skinner of Local 12 will have all of the breakdown, the analysis of today's Eagles-Bengals game inside Paycor Stadium. And as always, be sure to check out my material on CLNSCincy.com. Inside Paycor Stadium, Mike Petraglia, CLNS Media.